a small opening. I believe that media TV, for those who still know that testing tube image, it's still existing. I thought this was appropriate to start something on media. I mean, movies are everywhere. We have streaming all over the place, and since it's media, we want to do something fun with it, right? We want to build the next YouTube. So this is a little bit on how to get started with media services. First of all, let me introduce myself. For those who don't know me, my name is Mike Martin. I work for a company called Crosspoint Solutions, which is part of the Kronos group. You know, that's large pyramid-structured company. For people who don't know it, I'll try to look up some companies and you will see that they're affiliated with Kronos. What I do there is that I'll talk a lot. I try to do some business with Christoph Rennen over there. We run yeah, you. I do a lot of stuff. I try to be in charge of the Azure offerings nowadays together with Christoph, but I also do some ALM, some other stuff. Yes, don't look that cross-tight. I'm also a Windows Azure MVP since last year, and I hope to be renewed somewhere in April. I'm also Meet. For those who don't know Meet, we're an extended experts team from Microsoft Belgium. One of the hosts and owners of that group is Jan Tillens over there, so is actually the replacer of Catherine de Grave of the days. If you want to contact me, just drop me an email, follow my Twitter stream, that Big Data Flow, although it is closing down there. I also have some blogging available at your disposal, so you can also find me there. Now, media services. What we're going to talk about today is I'm going to define what media services is, and I'm going to go over the 4 steps that you're going to do with media services. That is feeding it, encoding it, and then delivering, and then consuming. So actually you can see it like a workflow which you can develop on, or you can abuse or use no matter what. And also a little bit on Director's Cut, which is some additional stuff that you can do with it. So, first of all, who's been following the Olympics? The Winter Olympics? Only 4 people? Okay, this is real. You can, you know, see the videos afterwards, but you are aware that there's an Olympic game going on now, right? So it's Winter Games in Sochi. And the cool thing is, in the United States, they're actually live streaming the entire event on MSNBC with Windows Azure Media Services. Now, it's cool. Unfortunately, it's not available for us. Why? Because, 1, it's USA, and you need to be an American resident, American credit card holder to be using it. And also, the live streaming itself isn't available yet as a public preview. So, but it's the second time that they're doing this, because it's, the previous Olympics in 2012, right, were also streamed on Windows Azure Media Services. So it's actually already a well-proven technology. Yeah, but that's only for the live streaming. Everything else is available in GA since last year. So it's GA, that stands for General Available, and you can actually just start using it, and it's very easy to use. So what's in there? Well, when I say Windows Azure Media Service, it's more than just something. It all starts with storage on the bottom, on where you store all your files and we start working with it. Yeah. So what you get there is that any developer can use media services and can point out to any kind of device or any kind of streaming. That's the goal in the end. So you put something in like a file, MP4, MP, whatever you have of media file, and you start doing your encoding up to the bitrate or up to the output that you want, and then you start streaming it. Then you can start building your own, let's say, Hulu, Netflix, or YouTube. That's the goal. Or for your internal communication, or for your internal communication channels, or you can even build additional services on top of that. That's the goal. So, how is the architecture looking? Well, you have media services built on top of Windows Azure itself. And in the media services itself, you get like secure media ingestion, encoding, on-demand origin. You can have analytics. You can have identity management. You can also have like rights management on there. So with the play ready. Advertising, if you're into the communication and advertising business, you can also have a large catalog of advertising services on top of that. Next to that, you also have a couple of REST APIs lying on top of there, so you can immediately call those if you prefer REST APIs. But there's easier ways to do that. Then you have build on third-party goals, like what they're called again for Ingress. I always keeping forgetting those uploaders. It's not Akamai, it's the other one. It's probably in my next slide somewhere. Yeah, third-party Spirit. And it's using the CDN to distribute globally, so that way your nearest location will be accessed that way. You also have origin and caching for your speeding your streaming. And then, of course, you get a lot of output possibilities of going from Windows 8, Point X, to the I devices and Onduit devices, and even Flash and Silverlight. So depending on what kind of output you want to provide or what reach you want to have, you can actually gain everyone. Right. So let's talk a little bit about the characteristics of uploading. So what you can have is that you can you want to secure your files. You don't want to make sure you want to make sure that not everybody can read them unless you say them so. So what you can do is you can actually pre-encrypt them. So you have that possibility while uploading. You can pre-encrypt them, and you can make sure that it's a pre-encrypted file. It's a secure way of doing it. It's HTTPS. So that's something we all love, although we do know there were some issues in the past. You can also do a bulk uploading. Again, there's tools for that. But you can easily program that through the REST APIs or just by using the SDK, which is available. From encoding point of view, well, there's a lot of industry standards available. Are they in there all? No, not all of them. But the most important ones are there. And so H.264 and VC1 is there, and even for audio encoding, we got AAC, Dolby, WMA, so all the major outputs are there at your disposal. I'll show some demos later on so that you can see how easy it is to be doing it. Then for on-demand streaming, so on-demand streaming is not the live streaming. It's just giving the files and giving access to the files and making sure that you can stream from there. So it's not to be compared with live streaming, although you're handing them live towards you. So the cool thing about that is that you get high bandwidth capacity. So you really get a lot of data center capacity that you can put through the files. There's auto recovery and redundancy, so you're sure that your files are accessible anytime. Again, it's Azure, so high availability is at stake. And you can even foresee your own streaming servers at your disposal. It comes with a cost, of course, but you have them at your availability, so you can have that. As I stated before, there's integrated Windows Azure CDN support, so it's easily proximity, so that way the latency of your files will become lower, so that way your streaming capabilities become more fluent. Yeah. And you can, that's a cool thing about on-demand streaming, is you can store one set and you can just re-encode to any kind of file format that you want. So if you want to upload one movie and you want to output it to 17 different formats, you can easily do that. Okay. So how can you use it? And that's where you guys are waiting for. So there's a click and play way. So you have the portal, which I will demonstrate. There's an SDK, easily downloadable through Nugget packages. And there's also the REST API, which I will not talk about, but if you've been playing with REST APIs over the Windows Azure platform, you know that they're well documented, and these are just as well documented as the other ones. Okay. So let's see, feeding it. So we're gonna now I'm gonna show you how to upload data towards Windows Azure Media Services. So first I'm going to show you the make it a little bit. So first I'm going to show you the portal way. Yeah? So how do you upload files? Well, first of all, you start with adding a media services account. Of course, elsewhere you cannot start. Cool thing is that you can even copy data from a storage account that you already have. So you can even reuse that one. All right? So how to upload data? Well, it's pretty easy. You know this, you know the portal, and you know how easy we upload files. It's just the same as with blob storage. What you do is you just click upload, you browse for a file, you click your file. Let's see if I find something here. Let's say this one. Give it a name. Voila. You notice that you can even upload immediately from another storage account. So that way you can just do inter data center or extra data center uploading without having to use your spacious bandwidth on-prem and off-prem. Right? So there's a possibility there. And just click this button and then it will start uploading. Right? So that's the portal way. Now, let's see how we do that in code. I created a little console application. And as you see, once you install the package, because you first need to install the package. So the package is easy. Once my prompt is there. So the package for installing the Nugget package is Windows Azure. Media service. Come on. Tap. Media services. Just press OK, and then all your dependencies will be uploaded to your solution. Then you're clear to go. So what it will eventually add, and you do need to make sure that that's been done OK, is it will add the OData packages. It will add a Windows Azure Media Services client package. You can also have an extension. I'm not going to talk about that, but it's a available package also with additional job information that you can do on the Windows Azure job execution. And it also adds the Windows Azure storage. Now, the thing is that if you're using an old NuGet package, you do an update of that, it will break. Why? Because it was up till somewhere in December, I think, that they didn't change the storage client. So if you got issues there, you need to reinitiate the storage SDK, and then you can start working with your NuGet package on the media services. So now, the magic in the uploading in code is this thing. Where is it? So you create a cloud media context, which is your entire context on which you can then connect towards your media services account, which is also being based on like a storage account. So you know what you can get then. You have a name and you have a shared key, which is generated for you. So you need to put that in your application.config or inside your code or on an obfuscated way, so that way you cannot access it afterwards. So you need to keep that in mind. So it's a safe secret, but you know how to work with those. Okay. So you create a media context with the account name in the key, and then you start uploading your files. Right. So how to do that? You create an empty asset, and then here, after you create the asset files, so that's a collection which you can use, just upload the path itself. So it's just a couple of lines. So basically it comes down to this. So these are the 4 lines which are the most important ones. So you create a cloud media context, open it with your media services name and key, create an asset, and then with the create options, which are the options on how to create it, whether it needs to be secure and whether it needs to be encrypted, yes or no. So those are the options that you're going to give. So you create the context around those, and then you can start uploading. So and then just upload assets So asset files could create from the physical file and just do upload, and it will automatically do that. So if I run this, if all goes well, just run it next to each other. So then I'm just gonna come on. We'll now start uploading my file. I hope it's still running. There it is. So it created an upload for my file. And if all goes well, there it is. No, it's not there. There it is, upload single file. So it's created it in the portal, as you can see. And now it's just, if I run this continuously, oh. So continue to upload it, and then eventually it will be there, and you can start continue with the entire workflow, which is the next part. Because once you uploaded it, there's my slides. Where's my slides? So once you uploaded it, it's just a file which is standing there. You can use it just like any blob, but then you need to start encoding it, right? You need to do stuff with it, because elsewhere you can't use it. You need to make sure that you can stream it, right? So one ring to rule them all. Just use the tool, and you can say, I have my basic asset which I want to use, and then I'm going to start outputting it to iOS devices, Android devices, Xbox, whatever streaming capabilities that I want to reach, what audience that I want to reach. Right? So for that, we also have a couple of lines. It's just you create on the context, you create a job, you give it a name, and then you just do the task that you want to do. So you just use the encoder with the context on which you decide which format that you want to use. And then you just, on the asset that you're having, just output it, submit the job, and it will start running in the background, and then it's out of your control. Then it's the Windows Azure environment which is running that. So if I continue this, let's see, so I've been here creating the assets, and that's the encoding part. Do this. I'm going to go in there. Just leave it running. So it will now start me a job. So you can also do that by hand. I'll show you in a second by another file. So it will now start me a job, and as you can see, it queued me a job. So that way you can follow up the entire tasking and see what this is doing, what the time period is that it will still be running, and what it is actually doing. Right? Now, if you want to do your own jobs, you can just, from that content view, you can easily just create another job. Just by saying, I want to encode, and just choose the format that you want. So as you can see, there's a lot of formats that are supported. You have some default common presets like Flash and Silverlight playing on PC and Mac, HTML5 and iOS. With that, you reach most of the devices which are capable today of playing media files. But there's also a wide variety in Full HD and 720p streaming, whether it's rather adaptive bitrate streaming or smooth streaming. So there's a lot of choice there. I don't know if it's visible in the back. It's completely visible. There's also one specific setting for Windows Phone 7 series. I wonder when they're going to change that, because it's a little bit deprecated now. Hopefully there will be a lot more possibilities of encoding afterwards. Don't forget, it's the first version of Windows Azure Media Services, and there's still a lot of room of improvement. I'm not saying that it's a bad product. It's just they always keep trying. Like with the live streaming, we've been waiting for it, and a lot of people want to do that. So I can understand that a lot of people stay away from it because there's not a lot of. But if you play with those settings and you tweak those settings, you actually get streaming at your disposal the way you want it. Okay, just the way you choose it. And then just give it a name, and then hop. Let's see, do it Silverlight Flash. I'm gonna name it Flash. Let's give it a good name. Save it, and it will then start me another job, as you can see here. As you can see here, so it started me another job on which you can now wait until it's been encoded. You can speed that up when just by scaling the way you encode. So you can easily scale your servers for encoding by going to a lot of multiple parallel tasking at the same time. So that way your encoding will be speed up. No, I won't. Yeah, I had a little something. You joker. I had a little something. I forgot some sessions on an HE inside cluster, and the guys from Microsoft weren't so happy with it. So I'm not going to do this now. All right. So that way you can speed up and actually make sure that your queuing is being processed in a more faster way. So that way all your encoding will be a lot fluenter. Right. Okay. So we just leave those jobs running. Probably that other one has already been finished. Yeah, so my encoding task, my encoding job, as you can see here, was finished at 6:40. So that's 3 minutes later, approximately, depending on what you want to do with it. So if you take a look now at the content, you will see that a new content type has been created. As you can see here. And it actually created me a stream which I can immediately start playing. So that's how easy it is. So if I now don't forget to press play, why isn't it playing? Okay, so voila, I've re-encoded to a streamed version of my file which I uploaded earlier, which I uploaded in the same queue. So that way you get an MP4 or a WMV which was uploaded and it was transposed to a MP4. So that way you get a streaming device. So as you can see, it only took a couple of lines of code and a couple of minutes of work to upload the file. Okay. Oh. So the streaming part is actually you want the you want the SDK to create the encoding jobs. You want the origin to be set correctly, the streaming asset and the access policy, so you don't want everybody to access it. So it's actually a little bit like in storage. You work with a sort of SAS. Everybody knows the SAS principle? So you have a shared access signature. It's a little bit the same. Yeah? It still stays storage, so still creating a signature on there, right? Now, consuming it is another part. You have, as I stated before, you have a lot of reach where you can go. And how do you consume these goods? Well, there's a lot of SDKs that you can use. There's a lot of out-of-the-box principles that you can use, like Flash, Silverlight, and so on and so on. So we got media players, and the thing that it supports from a Microsoft perspective are Silverlight for both smooth and dash, so dynamic adaptive streaming over HTTP. I always forget the acronym, sorry. So it's adaptive bitrate streaming. Also for Windows Phone, there's full support in Windows 8 with the correct SDKs that you can have, and I'll show you in a second some demo applications which you can also download and play with. And then you have a lot of non-Microsoft endpoints, because we mustn't forget we're not alone in the world. There's a lot of those tablet devices with the broken Apple thing, and a lot of and-on-do-it devices, you know, a robot which sounds like a candy bar. But we shouldn't forget about those, and those people also want to enjoy a good application. So it's up to us to build those with either Xamarin or with the mobile services toolkits that we can have from the Windows Azure part. Yeah? And just by using those specific streaming types for those devices, we can have a larger reach and larger public available. Right. So in Windows 8.x, so 8.0 and 8.1, there's a default media delivery type inside Windows 8. If you want to know more about Windows 8's development, I'm looking at you, so you can talk to that guy over there. I'm just going to go over the media capabilities and not over the development capabilities of Windows 8 here. So you know that for Windows 8 and 8.1, you know that you have HTML5 and XAML and C++. So there's support for all these platforms if you want to build streaming media players on Windows 8. So if it's your tool of the trade, you find in there, at least you have a choice of 3, right? So you can easily use those. It's an easy way to provide smooth streaming, and there will be others in the future. You can easily pick up existing video apps and move them over, migrate them on an existing way. Getting rich with in-app advertisement, but also in media advertisement, because as you know, for those who hate YouTube on that, if you play a video, you'll see that advertisements in there. You can actually do the same and annoy your users with it, or get rich by it by using that system. Microsoft has a complete toolkit on that, the advertisement toolkit, which allows you to monetize your media actually. And also there's some Visual Studio templates and client frameworks that you can use, like the Play Ready framework and the Streaming Media framework, which I'm going to demonstrate in a couple of seconds. So there's the client SDK, so streaming services extension, player applications, custom apps, and player frameworks like the HTML5 framework, which is out of the box for HTML5, which I'll also show in a couple of seconds. So the smooth streaming extension, what it does, it creates a video source. You consume it through the media engine in Windows 8 natively, and then you have playback for both all the native codec support. So there's H.264, WMV, VC1, and all those other formats which are natively supported in Windows 8. There's also immediately support for decoding and rendering, decrypting, so that's all in there in the media engine in Windows 8. That's a good thing. And you just can use it by either using the MP4 extension or the manifest extension. So that way you can use it by a manifest, which you define again in your media services. Player frameworks. There's on Coplex, there's the player framework, .coplex.com. Which is huge. It allows you to do closed caption, it allows you to teletype, it allows you to do the later the evening, the beautiful, the people, they say. Welcome. So you have a lot of capabilities there. If you're interested in this, just download it, and there's a complete sample kit in there, which I'll show in a second, allowing you to have every possible scenario in Windows 8 with either Windows Media Services or just like normal playdown on Windows 8. So that way you can either stream or just play a local file. But it allows you to play with closed caption, localization, stuff like that. So it's really, really expansive, that set. I don't know whether they will ever put it in separate SDK or Nugget packages. Maybe one day they will. I don't know. It's still on Coplex for now, but they're updating it regularly. So if you're interested, take a look at it. So and it builds on top of the smooth streaming client. So it's available for Windows 8. It's available in the flavor of HTML5 and also for Silverlight. Yeah. There's still business for Silverlight apparently. So we're not gonna ship that off yet. So it's a well-established platform. It's been going on for a couple of years. So very good to look at. So it's pluggable base. So actually, it's a plugin architecture. So just import what you need, and you skip everything else. So you don't need the entire stack. I'm doing it on time. Still got some time. Okay. So let's see. I'm going to show you some applications there. First of all, we have the player framework I was talking about. So it allows you to create Windows apps, store apps. Did I start it? Is it 5? Yeah, I did. Oh, it's still running. Where is it? Is it this one? Yeah. So as you can see, it's just a, no, this is the wrong one. Sorry. It's the, where's my app going? So this is the player framework app. So what you can have here is you can play around with Play Ready DRM. So also rights management is on there. The styling you can play around with for streaming. But here it becomes more interesting. So the adaptive streaming, for instance, when you're doing smooth streaming, you can actually do live streaming, which is also almost how should I put it, non-disruptive. So it just go, and this streams live from a source online. It's pretty awesome. What you also have is, which is pretty cool, you can also have closed captions. So this is a movie. You're not going to hear the sounds, but I can choose here now as all the subtitles. So for now it's on English. If I just wait until they start speaking, I'm not hearing that. And left we can see, if I now change that, it immediately changes the context of the language. You can even make it cultural agnostic, so that way your viewers can immediately have the correct context, and that way you can have geo-aware movies. It's based on an XML format, so you just stream it along with it. And on the time frame where people start talking, the caption will be entered at the correct time. That's the way it works. So if we take a look at that, I can just pause this. I get another one here. It's this one. So if I go to this is a HTML5 application, which is still open, which is also using closed caption, as you can see here. So I can only have, I put it on the bottom. So this is in English, and then when I put it in Spanish, you'll see Bill Gates talking in Spanish and some other guys talking in Spanish. And these are actually just these XML files that I was talking about. So the other one is being put online. So if I take a look at the files itself, you can actually see this file is here. So there's a timed frame of how it works. You say at 2 minutes 22. I don't know if you can read that correctly. Just so that way you can sync your playing along with that XML file. It will read out the time where it is, and that way you can have the context and you have the captions at the correct timings. So that's the way you put on captions. Another thing that you can do is integrate it, of course, as a streaming service in your websites. I created a small website with WebMatrix. Who knows WebMatrix, by the way? So a very lightweight but very powerful web development tool. If you want to know more about it, that's our specialist. He knows it very well. Yeah, Christian the Master. Yeah, I was talking about you. So what I created here is a, if it's willing to open. Yeah. So what I created here is, last year I was talking on Cloudburst, and I created some promo videos because those guys asked us, and I just created a small website on where they could stream down those videos. And what I did here is just added them in a small script in a container, just put multiple streams. As you can see here, you see that it's a H2 64 at 4000 kbps stream on AAC, so that's more general. And I added it to a Flash player, but as a fallback I also had a Silverlight player, so I can easily switch those. And I added a little top bar there where you can choose between all the videos that are playing. So if I run this in my web browser and see, normally I had it open here somewhere already. You can actually see me, I was remodeling at that time, you can actually see me do that and just play it, and I can actually switch between all the movies just by going on the playlist on top here. Just some script. It takes a while before it loads because it needs to stream, and I don't have enough capacity on my streaming there. But it takes some time, and then you can start playing. So that way you can start integrating it in your websites on Azure. So it's pretty easy. Just have the URI, have the zap file for Silverlight available, or just have the Flash plugin. Just go ahead. Just a couple of lines, and you can stream your own videos. Just store them in your storage, and you're done. Okay. Wow. Who thinks that was easy? Who likes this? Not a lot of fans, probably. And why don't you like it? Is there any reason why you don't like media services? Is there things missing? This is a Belgian audience, I should. Am I annoying? No. Is there things missing according to you? Yeah. Besides that, who else is using media services from other vendors? Not only media services, but other vendors. YouTube, Amazon. No. So nobody is using media at all. Okay. All right. So not everybody is up to media services then. Okay. So for me, what is still missing is like online editing capabilities. You can re-encode, but you cannot cut and paste. You cannot do some other things like we did in the past with I don't know what service that was we were using. No, but there was one where we were able to online edit files. Was that the? Okay, gone. But those are things that could still be improving. So I'm loving the platform. I mean, the ease of use and ease of development is great. I mean, uploading stuff, it's a breeze. You just have a couple of lines, just iterate through all your files, and it will start uploading. You can follow up, and it's very fluent. But yeah, for that, a friend of ours named Lily Vishwas is working for Apply This. Normally I don't do commercial talking. I'm not doing commercial talking, but what he did here was actually pretty awesome. They created a product around it, which allows you to easily, for those non-Windows Azure knowledgeable people, so non-IT people, and you want to make sure that your marketing association or your marketing organization within your company, you want to make sure that they can upload movies to post on your website or something. You don't want to give them access to your Windows Azure portal, right? That would be rather insane, because that way they can just switch down VMs. Oh, oops, that was the wrong button, or things like that. You just want to avoid that at all costs. Well, for that they created a nice application. I don't know if it is already in public preview, or that you can just apply to this. Apply to this. That was pun not intended. Just giving your shared key of your media services account, your media services account name, and that way you can just link to it immediately, and you can start uploading videos from here out. So what you can do is you go to the album, just upload from like your Azure account, and you can start doing the same thing. But then again, you don't need the portal. You don't need an administrative account. You don't need to be a co-admin. So it narrows down the security factor. People can do funky stuff. Right? So I'm going to do this one. Just have a file there. You can easily create output types Yeah, iDinges are full-blown AG. So for people who are not tech savvy, you can just give it a name. This is our corporate standard format. This is our test format, and people understand that. I mean, we are all IT guys, but we must not forget that there's a lot of non-IT users. So okay. You can add tags there, so that way you can easily find them back. So let's say demo and Azure. Voila. And then I just click my output types, process video reel, and as you can see now, it created me yet another job on my media services account if all is well, without having to log on the as you can see here, without having to log on my media services portal or my Windows Azure portal, and not allowing other people on my portal, which is precious to me. Okay, so that way you can still use the power of the cloud, but with an online tool for people who aren't Windows Azure savvy. Yeah. And then once that's finished, you can easily view the videos from here in either format that was created, like this one, for instance. There's already one here. So you can easily share the video, I can play the video, and you can preview it, and then just can start incorporating the links that you created to those videos, and then just go along with it. As you can see, this is a Silverlight Player Interactive, so it's a Silverlight application. It's an easy, small download which you can use, and then you can just play everything that you want. There's also a web portal on which you can manage your users. So there's also some out integration and some Active Directory integration that they're going to put in there. So it has a lot of capabilities. So that's actually the things that you can do. You can build products on top of that, just for like plugins for SharePoint, for instance. I'm looking at Jan now because, or is that the past that you want to forget? Okay, you're going to put your behind in the past. Oh, no, you got to put say that again? Okay, but plugins for SharePoint or plugins for another enterprise storage facility, so that way you can start using those things. All right. Cool. Now, I was talking about advertisements. I mentioned it a couple of times. So content protection, there's a Play Ready framework which allows you to safeguard every single file in your organization, which allows you to actually have DRM rights. So you can do whatever you want. As when normal DRM, you can actually do with your Windows files. So it's an online service which allows you to speak towards it. There's API calls for those, but there's also a framework which is more easy to use. Advertising, closed caption support, so there's going to be more. Live streaming will be added there somewhere, hopefully this year. Keep an eye out. And having that said, here's for your reading the tools that are at your disposal. Full walkthrough on all the code samples that I showed you tonight. And some other things that you can do, like direct packaging. Instead of pre-packaging, you can immediately do that also. And having that said, well, Scott, thanks for the attention. Thanks for having me tonight. I hope you found it interesting. And I will now clear the floor for some pizza. And then afterwards, there's our Dutch friend over there, Patrick van Dorpen, who will talk to you about PowerShell. Oh, and speaking about PowerShell, yes, there's PowerShell support, but it's not that big. It's only 4 commandlets, and it only lets you manage your account, and that's it. So don't look into that too deep. So thank you, and have a nice pizza.